In 2017, Vincent DiSanti put out Never Hike Alone, a Friday the 13th fan film. And at the time, I remember watching it when it came out on YouTube. It was a fan film. It seemed like something I've been wanting to see for ages. It really was the just the acting, the intensity, the filmmaking. It seemed like it couldn't get any better, not just for a fan film, but for a latter day Friday film. Now, we would get in 2020 kind of a mini follow up with Never Hike in the Snow, with the promise of Never Hike Alone 2 coming in the future. Well, that future is now, and in 2023, on Friday the 13th, Never Hike Alone 2 dropped. What are my thoughts on that? Well, we're going to talk about that right now in the Call to Cinema. Without giving away too much of my review, I want to preface this by saying if you have not watched this movie and you have not watched the first movie yet, stop right now, go watch the movies before you come back and finish this review. With that being said, let's get started. Never Hike Alone 2. This is going to be hard because I want this to be as spoiler free as it possibly can be. But I do have to spoil a couple things for the first film, and that's why I really want you to watch the at least the first film before you watch this review. See, one of the big things about Never Hike Alone is we're following this kind of this YouTuber guy. He does like he takes on like big trails. He's one of those nature vlogger guys that's going to like doing like the man against nature type of thing. And Man Against Nature comes Man Against Jason. So most of that film has him kind of like battling wits with Jason. The big thing at the end of the first film is Thom Mathews returns as Tommy Jarvis. So we have the Tommy Jarvis from Part Six returning in the role that one role that definitely made him famous and cemented him in the horror in the land of the horror. I know you'll think Return of the Living Dead as well, but for a lot of people, Thom Mathews was their Tommy Jarvis. Was the one that they really kind of got into because of Friday the 13th Part Six. For anybody that's followed my reviews for the series of Friday the 13th films at the time, Thom Mathews was, although I thought he was a great actor and did good in the role, I didn't think that he personified what Tommy Jarvis should be, considering all the stuff that happened to him before. I preferred John Shepard's take on the character. Never Hike Alone and Never Hike Alone 2 especially changed all that. Thom Mathews is now my absolute favorite Tommy Jarvis. Burn on across the board. I just think he is amazing in the role and he gets all the nuances down so well. He is such a good actor and I love everything that he does in this film. Never Hike Alone 2 gives, well, not, I wouldn't say a definitive ending, but we get closer to a the final face off between Tommy and Jason and the new characters as well. See, in part one, we had Kyle, who was played by Drew Lighty, and he is so damn good in the first one, and he's good and funny. He has a bit of a comedic aspect to this one as well, which does not take away from the film. In fact, it kind of fleshes out his character that we've seen in part one and gives a bit more depth to this character that was already a fantastic character. Have I said the word character enough? We have Vincent, and I'm gonna mispronounce his last name, Gustafaro, come back as Rick, who was Deputy Rick in Part Six. He's now Sheriff Rick, and he still doesn't believe Tommy. His character is so well done, and we get just a nice like growth for his character. We have actress Anna Campbell in the role of Dr. Diana Hill, and here's the thing: everybody in this movie is bringing what I like to call their A game. They're doing the absolute best job that you think they can do. From the actors that played Jason, because there's actually two actors that played Jason in this film, to the to the cast, from like secondary to the top tier characters, to the script itself, and just the way everything's shot, the way it's done. This does not seem like a fan film, and fan films have gotten better over the years to the point where it's really hard to tell the difference between a fan film and a regular film. Often, the only thing that really tells the difference is the length of it. This one actually does have a fairly nice length to it as well. This one runs over 60 minutes. I think this one runs around like 62, around 72 minutes, somewhere around there, with credits and everything taken in. Please wait till the after credits because there's a little funny sequence at the end. Um, but here's the thing: I don't want to give too much of this away. This is what I want to tell you right now. If Friday the 13th, the original Friday the 13th series of films, ends, and they're A24, they're doing the prequel series, whatever, and they start to kind of reboot the whole thing to do a whole new series of like Friday 13th films, taking off the new A24 timeline. This is a good ending for Friday the 13th. I am happy if this could be considered canon, like legit canon. Like if they weren't so like crazy about like if Victor Miller and Sean Cunningham could get on the same page and look at these films and say yeah, no, these are canon for the Friday the 13th franchise. If the Never Hike Alone films, there was Never Hike in the Snow, it's a shorter film, but Never Hike Alone, Never Hike Alone 2. If these were considered canon and this was okay, this is it. This is the end of the original Friday the 13th timeline. Before they shoot off to the new thing. That's how good I think these are. And that's how particularly good I think Never Hike Alone 2 is. It's the best Friday the 13th film that I've seen since the Paramount era. I was never a massive fan of the New Line ones. I could take them or leave them. They were fun for what they were. I never was a fan of Jason Goes to Hell. It's man at best. Jason X is a placeholder that's fun. It's more of a sci-fi channel type of film. Jason versus Freddy is a fun film, but again, it doesn't really get the character of Jason right. The Jason requel, Friday the 13th requel, is actually really, really good, and I do love that film. I think that Derek Mears does a great job there. But it is like part four in that it plays a lot of the hits. This takes the time to, one, stay entrenched within what Friday the 13th is, do something slightly new, and still be able to throw back some homages without seeming like it's just playing the hits. It's taking characters that we've seen before, and it's growing on those characters. It's taking stuff that we've seen before, and it's growing to the mythos. It's growing to the legacy. This, my friends, is the best Friday the 13th film that I've seen outside of the Paramount Friday the 13th films. And you know what? Better than Jason Takes Manhattan. Should you see this? 100%. As a massive Friday the 13th fan who owns this box set right here, and right now has like 4 NECA figures, a NECA Friday the 13th mask. I've put all my eggs in the Friday the 13th basket franchise pretty much as a fan. I love the franchise. So somebody like me goes into this more skeptical. I don't go into it with blinders on. I don't go into it with nostalgia glasses. For me, it's a very different thing because it's somebody outside of Friday the 13th making Friday the 13th. So I went in very like I'm a massive Black Christmas fan, and there was a Black Christmas fan film. There's certain things I liked, certain things I didn't like, but I think the fact that I am such a fan of it really, I can't rose-colored glasses when it comes to that. Vincent DiSanti, thank you. You made Tom Matthews my favorite Tommy Jarvis. Um, I want to see because I want to know who. I'm gonna guess DeSanti wrote it because I'm not seeing who the writer of the film is right here in the cast and crew, or maybe it was like written by a couple different people. Maybe it was a either way. It seems like a very focused vision. It's a wonderful film. Should you check it out? You should. This is the highest recommendation of cult cinema approved. This is a fan film that comes off like an actual film that respects everything that came before it and does it in such an amazing way. I wish I could talk about it more. I wish I could get more in depth, and maybe down the road I'll do a spoiler review. But right now, you owe it to yourself, especially if you're a Friday 13th fan. If you got this set, or any Friday the 13th set, and you have not checked out the Never Hike Alone movies, do it. Do it immediately. I'll see you next time here on the Call to Cinema. Have a happy Halloween. Hope you guys enjoyed your Friday the 13th. And this, my friends, as the song says, it's the tops. See you soon. We get a little scene in this movie at the beginning with a young Tommy Jarvis, and not quite sure who played him. I could look it up there, but I'll tell you this: he does a really good job, and he looks surprisingly like Corey did in Friday the 13th Part 4. It's a nice little touch. Also, by the way, look for some cool little cameos in the film as well. Enjoy.